ばば、どうしても見なきゃいけねえのがあんだよ。
Punch Punch Forever has been in the works for a while, but the roots of it start at the beginning of Speedoru's channel. While known for his works of animated music videos and Not Safe for Work, it's been years since he made an original cartoon series. So does Punch Punch Forever live up to the hype? Or is it just another YouTube pilot that won't go anywhere? To find out, I interviewed Speedoru to help us take a dive into the brief history of the cartoon that YouTube tried to shadow ban from existence, with a lot of fun behind the scenes content he told me about. Hello, I'm Ryan. And we're gonna be talking about some animation, some indie animation. Isn't that fun? But before we get into the cartoon, let's talk about the history of his channel. A brief one. Speedoru is a 28-year-old animator from the Republic of Ireland. Created March 15th, 2012, his channel was originally called Speedo Sausage. However, he has since changed it to where I said before, please keep up. Now, he mentioned in a prior interview that if he knew he had gotten this far, he would have named himself something else, because the name is just a dick joke. But also, YouTube can actually shadow ban accounts with more riskier names. This happened to Yo Mama, and still hasn't been fixed. It's something to do with Google search results, or something along those lines, though he'll never change his banner from Jomer to anything else. Thank God. As a preface, the interview I had with Speedoru was text only, so he'll be instead voiced by Valentine Bay VA, glad we're on the same page. At the start of his channel, he had posted a lot of crude and raunchy shorts that he regrets making. Speedoru can't stomach a lot of the content he made before 2014, as it was a turning point with how he draws. This mixed in with his understanding and appreciation for arts and animation.
A lot of my old videos are very shock humor. I remember my mindset at the time being like, I'm gonna make the most fucked up parodies ever, bro. I guess you could still say my cartoons are shock humor in some sense, but I feel like I've at least developed it to be a bit more palatable.
What he dubs the Grease era of 2013 and prior was due to his inspiration of Gonzo SSM, as well as Oni and G and Psychic Pebbles, Oni and G also being from Ireland. Though as an in-general inspiration, the likes of Flapjack as well as Akira helped shape his art style. But back to the Grease era, he stated that this was a time when things were overly shiny and overly saturated. This mixed in with his bad mic and voice acting led to a lot of regrettable videos.
Oh, Dad, you never learn.
Oh God, that shit's fucking hilarious, yeah.
The oldest cartoon he could stand was Baron Bunny Boo from early 2014. However, it's since been taken down from YouTube because of their violence policy. He hasn't made an effort on bringing it back, though it is still viewable on Newgrounds. Perhaps linking the uncensored version may have triggered this deletion, though he's not sure.
If you want to keep these, you're gonna sit there and take it, motherfucker! Not on my dead body, you son of a bitch!
And this wouldn't be the only time his content would be erased from the platform, but we'll get into that later. Another reason for regrets was the fact that he tended to pander as well as bandwagon, rather than creating what he truly wanted to make. On the note of that, his first foray into creating an animated series was that of Machinima's Super Booby Greasy Warriors in 2014. This would also be possibly his least favorite thing he's made, solely due to the fact that it's rushed. Everything from the voice acting, writing, and animation. The latter than most, because everything was first pass with no revisions.
Oh, God dang it! It was just another one of my wacky dreams!
Machinima commissioned him to make the 5-part series on January 2013, with December of the same year being the deadline, meaning he had literally less than a year to make this whole thing. The first incarnation of this will sound familiar. It's about a group of characters that join a martial arts tournament and do tournament things. Though since it was Machinima, he wanted to add some gaming stuff too, like having Ryu and Scorpion from the respective games in there.
Unsurprisingly, by August of that year, I only had animatics for the episodes done, and the line work for episode 1 complete. That was it. I had maybe 4.5 months to do line work on 4 more episodes, color all 5 of them, add music, sound effects, and backgrounds. But I just kept trucking on.
But then a fate worse than death happened to his project. Flash crashed. Episode 1's project file was completely corrupted. With no backup saved, he was quite devastated. He found the idea of reanimating the episode as well as finishing the other 4 completely undoable. However, with a deadline, he still had to create something for all the money he got from the company. That series being SBGW, with the company fine with this change? I guess they really didn't care about the quality of content they paid for, or brand recognition, because this thing has a lot of not safe work in it. A lot.
SBGW had nothing to do with video games. If anything, was mostly just an anime parody thing with as much softcore nudity as I could cram into it, as softcore nudity was the only thing that I could possibly find enticing enough to animate 5 episodes worth of material in such a short span of time.
He got a 1-month extension to finish the project, and he managed to pull it off. He was so crunched for time that he had to do all the voices by himself, as waiting for someone to send in lines would have taken him too long. In the end, the show did fine, with each episode getting around a few million views per video, though it's still not something that he's proud of.
We need to stick together. Come with us?
Do you guys have cable?
Yeah.
Count me in!
Is that really all you're
concerned about.
After Machinima's closure, the series would get completely wiped from their channel, though re-uploads still exist in low quality.
All I feel put into SBGW was panic, corner cutting, and anger, lol.
On note not safe for work content, he really likes creating it, partially because it's one of his main sources of income, and it's fun. For him to solely rely on YouTube money will not turn out well, due to how long it takes for him to make the cartoons.
I think I learned a lot about anatomy from doing it, but also drawing boobs and dicks is freaking epic sauce. And I don't use that term lightly. I guess some people might look down on me for doing not safe for work, but it's whatever. There's still a craft and skill that goes into it.
But on the note of not safe for work stuff, so safe for work, I guess. While Speedoru was in college, he briefly worked on Ross Boinger's Pencilmation series. He wanted to separate his online and IRL life, as he'd rather showcase this stuff at his college, rather than any of his YouTube works. This would be the only online animation he's done not under his Speedoru name. So if you find the secret Speedoru Pencilmation animations, you get nothing. I mean, you get to see some funny cartoons. That's nice. After finishing SBGW, he had another idea for an action-oriented series. However, he would not get it off the ground. Now, there are two different iterations of this pilot that didn't go anywhere for their own little ways. The first one, in 2014, it was just an obvious joke. The short revolves around a guy hurting his knee on a bench, which causes the Action Emergency Squad to show up. While it could have worked as a one-off short, he didn't know how to expand it past the concept. A year later, he would try another crack at it. However, for this one, the project was just aimless. Rather than helping others, the team just kind of fought bad guys, I guess. Even back then, the inklings of Punch Punch Forever loomed in his mind before he even knew what it was.
I think there is an idea in there somewhere about a largely incompetent superhero-like vigilante ambulance squad that has potential, but I just wasn't able to make anything good from it. And it's the reason neither iteration or any of the many other attempts at writing a script for it never evolved past the animatic stage.
What would skyrocket his fame would be several animated music videos he had created. In 2016, he made a fan animation for Flash Drive. Putting together 4 songs from Australian pop producer Wave Racer, it reached over 2,600,000 views. It garnered the attention of Snail House Ryujiko, so they began to talk about animating their song Pixel Galaxy from April of that year. Releasing in October of the same year, this would be his most viewed project ever, reaching over 114 million views? Oh my god. As for the animation itself, Speedoru had total creative control, except for one small thing, as he had to have Yujiko's mascot Snail-chan within it. That's a good deal. Like, yeah, I can do that. And so continuing the story of Snail-chan and his OC, 3 more music videos were created. In 2018, The Snail-chan Adventure, 2020, Twinkle Star, and 2023, Restart. While he liked animating the more serious / melancholic works, he prefers animating the bombastic, over-the-top, sexy, and absurd, such as this next project. In 2019, he would make another fan animation, this time of a 20-second snippet to Go Anti-Go by Wieners. While the band saw it and liked it, it wasn't until June 2021 did he get a response from them. Daisuke, the only member on staff that spoke English, commissioned him to make a music video for them. With the deadline in August, he only had a month and a half to animate a 2-minute music video. Thankfully, with the help of Unserious Guy and Vim Homeless with cleaning up animation, he did get it done, but barely in time. He previously sent in an unfinished music video that the band liked, and so the band was just gonna upload it on their channel. However, 2 hours before the premiere, Speedoru was able to send in the final exports and they quickly swapped it out, literally down to the last minute. Since then, he's designed merch and posters for the band. With all this leading up to it, it's time to talk about Punch Punch Forever, the origins, and the concept itself. Also, if you're liking the video so far, give it a like, comment, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thank you. The cartoon was released July 15, 2023. The plot revolves around Gogo, the daughter of Mama and sister of half-demon Nono, an alternate timeline where demons took over the earth, and humans must compete in endless tournaments fighting demons. But if a human does win, they get one wish granted by Emperor Koro.
Matsumoto Gogon!
Some of his prior OCs are actually in the crowd shots of the cartoon, such as the original incarnation of SBGW. His frog mascot would be reincarnated as the Hat of Go-Go. First being drawn in the Go Anti-Go video, he wanted a simply stupid mascot to represent himself. Since release, it did very well, and so artists quickly made fan arts for the show, with Speedoru retweeting many of them, and even one person making a bootleg VHS tape cover of the pilot. And the first official OC of the show, Axel. Look at him. And you might actually recognize one of the main characters, as she's appeared in a lot of Speedoru's old works. As far back as 2016, Nono was the oldest OC still drawn to this day. Over time, the character changed from a stoic feather-wearing coat girl to a brash half-demon that chugs beer. Quite a change to say the least.
次からはちゃんと人見て言えこの野郎。
お尻
As for the main character of Punch Punch Forever, Go-Go is his favorite OC by far.
I really love drawing her, either how she normally looks, or drawing her completely deformed. Her design is pretty simple. It's mostly based off of Velma's design in A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. Take one look at her in that show and you can immediately see the similarities. Maybe even a smidge of Millhouse, too. Big glasses with tiny little baby pupils in them just look very silly and cute.
Back in mid-2020, Speedoru had been watching Trigger's Inferno Cop and wanted to make something similar to it. Around this time, he'd also been watching Sonic 2 the animated series, as well as Sugoi Quest for Kokoro. Having an itch, he wanted another Go-Go for an animated series. The first incarnation of PBF would take place in an after-school martial arts club in a dojo, the main characters being Go-Go, a giant hell beast, and his OC Nono. The hell beast would later serve as the basis for Emperor Koro in the finalized series. As for Go-Go and Nono, they're originally unrelated, and Go-Go had a crush on her. Though now that they're related, none of this matters. You sick freaks. The drawing of the Jack Muscular Go-Go was the first time he ever drew her, period. This would later be referenced in the pilot as well. However, with the original iteration, he couldn't figure out how to make it work, and so with the script's not turning out well, he decided to put it on the back burner. PPF would later transition to a video game concept in 2021. It's primarily based on the 1993 video game, The First Funky Fighter. It's essentially whack-a-mole, but a lot cooler. With this iteration, a lot of character designs, story changes, and aesthetic choices made into the final product.
So, while it was a fun idea that I picked at here and there between other work, when all my other obligations were done and I thought I was finally ready to start working on the game, I think the reality of the blindly optimistic hit.
I'm gonna make my first video game, smile.
I didn't really know anyone personally that would have been free to work on it with me, and after ruminating on it for a while, I turned it back into a series, but with the new changes I had made.
I'm mulling over whether to wait on making the video game or making the animation. He chose the latter and was happy to do so, mainly for the fact that he could actually work on it. Production officially started late August, early September 2022, and took about 10 months to finish, though this was mainly due to having commissions in between. While he animated primarily in Clip Studio Paint, he also worked with the old Macromedia Flash 8, a program so old the files couldn't load and animate, causing me to download an old trial of the program. Perhaps this adds to the aesthetic of the show. You know, 80s and 90s anime.
For instance, making it 4:3. Obviously, it reminds you of the standard definition of old video and TV, but it was also an opportunity to take a different approach when it came to composition and arranging shots. Despite literally being smaller than 16:9 dimensions, it simultaneously felt like I had more vertical space to do with some gags a bit differently than I would in a 16:9 ratio.
He liked the idea of mixed media, a la Gumball, Panty and Stocking, SpongeBob, as well as Spawning Friends. So for the show that Nono watches, he got Vilxaviv for the 3-dimensional low poly figure, as well as Crispy Bones for the clay animation eye catcher. You know, the interstitials between the cartoon. Look at that nice art. It is mixed in with a guest appearance from Sephiroth Sword 57 as the Emperor of Japan, as well as the fact he actually incorporated live action footage within the episode. In the description of the video, he claims he found this as an old VHS tape, you know, to add to the aesthetic. The voice acting was done by Team Rash A1M, who's known for dubbing Western YouTube animations, the two notable ones being Ian A and Big Top Burger, and they actually worked with them personally, such as Worthy Kids Captain Yajima. Go-Go's voice inspiration came from that of The Simpsons Japanese dub of Lisa Simpson, though with this came unexpected results in voice acting.
Some shots, like when Mama is shouting at Nono after just having kicked her PC monitor out the window, or the guy in the crowd that shouts at Nono before she sticks his finger up her nose, originally they would have just been mostly standing still. But when I heard the vocal deliveries and how they put emphasis on certain words in ways that I didn't expect, I had to add all new animations that really brought them to life in a fun new way.
This pairs well with the style itself, as it's animated 4:3 rather than the traditional 16:9 you see in most modern day animations. This gave the team a different approach in terms of composition and framing of said shots. It felt as if he had more vertical space for the visual gags than he would have in a standard 16:9 animation, and I'd seen some videos saying that sitcoms worked in the older format. Though for the voice acting and composition, this led to some concerns with the yellow translated text. Speedoru worried on whether it would clash with the visuals, and something he's still further working on in future projects. You know, whether or not the text would get in the way of the joke to constantly look up and down the screen, like reading subbed anime. He had done this in comparison to a reverse Resident Evil. What do I mean by that? For the first few games, despite being made by Japanese developers, the original audio is recorded in another language, that being English. So in playing the game in the original country, Japan, they would still have to have subtitles. Hence the comparisons between Punch Punch Forever and Resident Evil, as said by Speedoru himself. The total cost of PPF was under 10,000 USD, with a third of it going to the theme song and nearly 2/3 of it going to the background art. The rest went to voice acting and digital animation. Interesting enough, not only did he not credit himself for the music that he made, a lot of the work that he did fell under created by Speedoru. If he had done so, it would have looked pretty funny. Like, have you ever seen The Room and how most of the credits are just Tommy Wiseau? Yeah, something like that. You can find some of his older music on SoundCloud, and he'll eventually release more at a later time. And so Punch Punch Forever, he has a successful cartoon on his hands. Something loomed over him that caused doubt in his mind. While the cartoon was gaining traction, something happened on YouTube that caused a lot of the momentum to stop. Between July 20th and 24th, PPF didn't show up in YouTube search results, and there's no explanation why. The video was never age restricted, nor was any email sent to Speedoru. Even trying to ask YouTube on Twitter, he still got no answers. Oddly enough, for the theme song and reactions to the cartoon, they would show up just fine. This matters a lot for YouTube videos, as they need momentum to get seen. If the video is age restricted or shadow banned, unless you go out of your way to find it, you wouldn't have otherwise seen it. This also affects ads. If your YouTube video is too graphic, it's hit with a yellow $sign, causing it to get recommended to less people. A good sign if your channel is doing fine is if your video keeps appearing in people's recommendeds, as well as the front page. Thankfully, Twitter kept up with a lot of the momentum, with fan art and praises from other contemporary artists, though it just would not be enough. This was until the morning of July 24th. Like, very early morning. Speedoru had DM'd me saying that the video is now in search results yet again. There wasn't a rhyme or reason why this happened, it just did. However, on July 25th, it had been shadow banned again for some regions of the world. At the time of writing, Speedoru had been testing changing up the description to see if perhaps something in there is causing him to go away. He had gotten a lot of tweets saying it stopped showing up for them again, but on my end, I can still see it. Hopefully by the time you're watching this video, it has since been fixed. Though this leads us to the next important update. It's getting a series. Announced on his YouTube community page, he clarified he'll be making more episodes. However, he's aiming to keep it purely independent, opting not to use Kickstarter.
A successful Kickstarter campaign wouldn't necessarily guarantee a good or timely delivered end product either. There's been many horror stories over the years. I'd feel better if people just think the next episodes of PPF suck, rather than
PPF had a big Kickstarter campaign and the episodes still suck! What the fuck?
While crowdfunding can be good for online creators to, well, create, an issue that creeps up is societal pressure. Such an example would be for the Friday Night Funkin' game, the full one. We're raising over $2 million back in 2021, people are still waiting for the release. Some even making fun of the team for not releasing yet, claiming they took the money and ran away. What they don't understand is that due to how much money they raised, they have so many songs and remixes that it's unfathomable how long it'd actually take. So while they did get the money, it'll be quite a while until they can actually finish the product. While there are cases of Kickstarter series finishing in allotted time, such as Meat Canyon's Monster Lab, this can lead to burnout in said project. So for Speedoru opting to self-fund, he doesn't have internet pressure to continue if he had other people's money in his wallet. Also for the fact he already paid for the theme song, he can just reuse it, thus saving a lot of money. This also mixed with the fact that he himself is an animator and doesn't have to offset a lot of the work to a big team of artists. I actually consulted some pilots in which they had to rely solely on other animators because they cannot draw themselves. Needless to say, this project has yet to be released, and for one, it's been like 3 years. Best of luck to them. So Speedoru's own ability to storyboard as well as animate, most of the back-end work will be on his end, causing the fate of the series to rest solely in the back of his drawing tablet. With internet projects like Punch Punch Forever, it rests alongside the works of Big Top Burger, Sublone Tangy Mustard, as well as Saitina. Those being works from animators who have other things to do, so please wait, they're very busy, calm down. Thank you. While it would be a dream to work full-time on a project like Hellboy Boss or possibly Murder Drones, Speedoru doesn't have the financial back-end to continue solely on the project. However, in saying that, to give the time the cartoon needs is what made it special in the first place. Circling back to Super Booby Greasy Warriors, while he was able to make a 5-part series, there's the fact that every part was rushed caused him to feel dissatisfied with what he created. Despite people liking it, it wasn't the result it could have been. But with Punch Punch Forever, he can finally show what original work of his is. To see the history of Speedoru on his channel is a nice steady process into his, well, progress as an animator. Everything from the goods and bads of his library, they made him what he is today. With his works on Snail's House, Wave Racer, and even as far back as Pencilmations, the cartoon he created today could have been made if not for all that past experience. Much like Go-Go, through the 10+ years he's been animating, it takes a strong will to keep fighting and strive for what you want to achieve. Sometimes it just takes a bit of time, but eventually you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. I look forward to where Punch Punch goes forever for episode 2, and where the rest of the series takes us. And in saying that, the tournament has just begun.
My main goal in animation is to simply keep doing it. If I stop, I feel like I have nothing else to keep me occupied. It's like the movie Speed, where if I slow down to drawing or animating for any less than 8 hours a day, then I explode and die!
Hey, thanks for watching, and be sure to support me on everything. Literally. Everything. My Twitters, YouTube channels, and Patreon. Also go check out my animated podcast with Saldus JJ. Ooh, we're moving. That's the end of this podcast. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, let me. Oh, what is
You got a text right now? What would you see? Oh shit, I got it too. Do you want to read yours out loud first?
They hit the Pentagon.
They hit the fucking Pentagon?
I gotta
Oh.
go.
Oh, wait. It wasn't our Pentagon. Okay,
Oh.
we're fine. Until next time, keep on drawing. And don't forget to have fantastic.